Hello, I'm Aaron Sims, radio play-by-play announcer for your Milwaukee Admirals. There has been a lot going on in the world of professional hockey, professional sports, obviously, as we all know. Yesterday, the American Hockey League announced that it was pushing back its expected start date from December 4th until February 5th. We know that you, the fan, all the fans have many questions, and to try to address as many of them as we can, here's Admirals President Jon Greenberg. John, hello. It has been something else. And when people ask me, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, but when people ask me about whether the season will go, I say I hope so. And to me, the challenge is not only the virus is sticking around, but you have 31 teams with 31 different health departments in roughly 15 states and 3 provinces in Canada. Everybody needs to be on the same page to a large degree.
That's exactly right. And that, to me, is the thing that I try to emphasize to people, is that this is not a Milwaukee problem. You know, when we have a Milwaukee solution, it won't be the end of the process. It'll be great and wonderful, and thrilled to be in a position where we can move forward. But, you know, we need people to be able to play against. And those markets all will need to have the same green lights that we'll have. And so, you know, I really encourage people to do whatever they can over the next few weeks to really help us get this virus under control. If you're watching here, you're watching in Nashville, you're watching in, you know, Moose Jaw, I hope that we'll get this under control so we can get back to playing hockey with fans in our arenas and really get back to that.
That's I would think one of the more interesting questions is, when the season starts, is it necessary? Can it be done without fans in the stands?
That would be very challenging. We, as opposed to the NHL or Major League Baseball or the NBA or the NFL, even, you know, massive television contracts at those major league sports that help to underwrite a lot of the expense at those teams. Those teams are still losing an enormous amount of money, but it's, you know, they have some revenue that's being generated because of those television contracts. I just saw the other day that Major League Baseball announced that they had lost $3.1 billion over the course of this season. You know, that's very difficult for all those teams. In our case, we don't have that television contract. You know, AHL TV is a wonderful product, and it certainly led to increased revenue coming to our teams, but it's nowhere near that. And so we live on ticket sales, corporate sales, and merchandise. And we need, as we like to say, butts and seats in order to make all those things happen, you know, concession revenue, all those things that go with it. And so we, along with, I would say, a significant amount of the teams in our league, need to have people in the stands watching our games.
And that will be a point that people will note, and it's been noted in the articles I've read. I think it's 12 of the 31 teams are independently owned, and 19 are owned by NHL parent clubs. So there is a difference. Can the season start with, like the ECHL? The ECHL is going to have some teams start in December, I believe, and then the rest of the teams will join up hopefully after the new year, depending on how things are going. Is that possible? And does it matter that there is the separation of 19 NHL teams and 12 individually owned teams?
Sure. Well, I would tell you that all things are on the table in terms of how we get started. Certainly the best way forward is for all 31 teams to be able to participate together at the same time, playing the same. Actually, amazingly enough, we'll be playing the same amount of games this year. So, you know, we want to make sure that we try to get to that. That's certainly number one. Whether they're an NHL-owned team or an independent-owned team, you know, those discussions are also, you know, going on. NHL teams are still, you know, they need
They'd like to make some money too.
Yeah, and they also need to make sure they're playing, you know, at their level. That hasn't been formally set yet either. So there's still just, you know, a ton of question marks out there. You know, our announcement yesterday of getting off of our December 4th starting date and moving it to February 5th, I think was an important step so that we can try and work with our return to play committee, which has been doing a lot of hard work. And that committee is an AHL and NHL committee. So half of the people are NHL, including David Poyle from Nashville. He's a part of the NHL group. And then there are 6 representatives of AHL teams, which include independent-owned teams as well as teams that are owned by their NHL affiliate. Everybody is working together to try and come up with the best plan moving forward.
A February 5th start date, would that push the season later? And how many games would you anticipate? What is the recommendation right now, if there is one?
Yeah, would certainly push the season later, because what everybody's talked about certainly is wanting to play as many regular season games as possible. It won't be 76, because we've also talked about trying to make sure that we finish at some appropriate time so that we can start 21-22 as close to a regular time as possible. So will it be less than the normal? Yes. Will it be as many regular season games as we can get in? Probably going through the month of May is my guess. Is that's kind of what I expect the direction to be.
So a drop dead date, if this all works out, would be roughly the beginning of August, once the Calder Cup final or Stanley Cup finals in the NHL situation.
I don't know, because I know one thing that's in play is the Olympics next summer. From a television perspective, NBC with the Olympics wanting to make sure that their complete focus is on that. And so the NHL, I know they're wrestling with that at their level, trying to find a way to be done. I know the NBA has kind of talked about trying to be done before the Olympics start. So the Olympics are a big deal, obviously, and trying to make sure that for the television partners and the world, wanting to be able to focus on that we're done before the Olympics start.
Some questions from the fans that they sent in. Is it possible to push back from February 5th to get everything in the American Hockey League?
Push back, does it start later than that?
Yes. Could we say March 5th? Could we say, I mean,
I think again, everything is in play. We were hopeful for December 4th months ago, when we thought that this was all going to be resolved.
Yeah.
And so now we're at February 5th, and our hope is that we can get it done then. We really do have that as a focus of a starting date, but a lot of decisions will need to be made by 31 franchises about how we move forward and whether or not we can all be ready to go by then.
One suggestion that people have seen is the Canadian NHL teams would have their own division. It would just be Canada because of the border closing. And who knows how much longer that will go. Do you see that something similar would happen in the American Hockey League, not only in Canada, but let's say Milwaukee would only play Chicago, Rockford, perhaps Iowa, kind of divisional, or at least places where you don't have to spend 3 nights?
Yeah, I think, the Canadian border situation is an important one to be considered, and one we're certainly talking about. Our return to play committee is talking about having those Canadian teams in our league. So Manitoba, Laval, Belleville, Toronto, essentially make up a division. And if they can't be coming across the border, then they'll just stay up there and play against each other. The other thing would be Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver, who have teams in the United States and the American Hockey League, Utica and Bakersfield and Stockton, trying to figure out the best way for them to do this, so that when it's time to get players called up, that however the border situation affects that. So again, something that needs to be worked out. And, there's a lot of stories going around about testing in Manitoba, but it's only one of the provinces. So, there's just a lot of issues that need to be worked out over the next couple months.
Would players, and we've seen this, the NHL has assigned players to teams overseas. Eli Tolvanen, for example, is playing with the team he was formerly with in Finland. Yakov Trenin is in Russia. Igor Afanasiev, a Predators draft pick, is in Russia. Is that an option for, do you think, for, or do we know, for players in Milwaukee who are signed on two-way contracts, players like Hugo Roy or this Devin Cooley, the goaltender that the Predators just signed, that may be ticketed to the ECHL in some fashion?
In terms of going to Europe, or just whether they're going to the ECHL?
ECHL, yeah.
Well, the ECHL, right now, the American Hockey League, the Players Association, the PHPA, and the ECHL are trying to figure out all the mechanics of that player supply, and whether or not guys that are on this contracts here would go there or not. There are a lot of issues that are tied to that are frankly above my pay grade. So those are things that, Nashville is working through along with the other teams in the league. Make sure that the player safety is at the highest level, and players that are playing at our league are certainly elevated from a skill level than what would normally be in the ECHL. Obviously, that league is normally a place where we have players who are getting called up to play for us when we have a hole, as opposed to American Hockey League players who are signed to play here likely aren't going down there. They've kind of graduated past that. So Nashville is certainly working through that as our league, trying to figure out the best way to find ways for players to play. We've
established that this is a butts and seats type of league and situation. Is there a percentage? We've heard so much. We see in the NFL, 13,000 fans are allowed in a game, or whatever the case might be. Is there a chance with 25%? Is there a chance with 50%? Whatever the number may be.
Well, certainly, we would love to be able to get to those numbers. Right now, the total is 10. So
right.
we could have,
and 10 that's people. Based on the city of Milwaukee, we should
correct.
Say. So what that's we
correct.
have in Illinois may have 0 or whatever, right? So that's
right.
the situation.
Yeah, and I know Providence was talking yesterday that theirs is 5. So it's every situation is different, and we have worked all throughout the summer with Ticketmaster as well as with the Wisconsin Center District on seating manifests that deal with reduced capacity. So whether it is 50% or 25%, we have ability to, when we get a green light, we can play under this scenario. We just press the button. This is the one we're going with, and then we can start working with our customers, our great season ticket holders, to be able to find ways to get them into the building.
So if you get to that point, let's say it's 25 or 50%, is there who gets in? Is there a lottery for season ticket holders? How do you determine, or how would it be determined as to who gets first come first serve? How do you deal with that?
Sure. Well, certainly short of graft, and Christmas is coming. Short of that, no. There's our ticket group here, led by John Bitter, our VP of Ticket Sales, and Corey Schooley, our season ticket director. Those two, along with Brian Martins and Ryan Harrington, from a ticket operations perspective, are kind of leading the charge, along with the rest of our ticketing group, to come up with plans so that when it's time to go, that whatever the scenario is, we will be ready to go. So if it's a limited capacity and we can't get everybody in, we can't get everybody with the season ticket plan of every kind in, then there will be some seniority, some what type of ticket plan. So if you have fulls, you move to the top of the list, some seniority there, that type of thing. So we're going to do everything we can to get as many people in as possible, because that's what we want, and that's important to us. As important as it is to the customer, is as important it is to us. So we want people there, and we're going to do everything we can to get as many people into the building as possible.
Something that has, and I know you've dealt with this question a lot, It was a couple of weeks ago that UW Milwaukee Panther Arena uh, said, and I think the interpretation from many people is that there would be no events until the fall of 2021. To clarify, that's not what they're saying, that the building is closed. They are not planning on anything, I guess. There's a difference.
Well, there is a difference, and that's one of those where you read the headline but don't read the story.
Right.
So if you read the story, and I happy to clarify, but the deal is that they needed to do their budget for the upcoming season, and all the uncertainty around whether we were going to play, the Wave was going to play, UW Milwaukee basketball was going to play, the roller derby was coming, the circus was coming, all those things. They just went with, we're going to budget like none of it's happening.
Right.
Which is absolutely the right way to do that. So that when they do have events, all of that is gravy, to their budget. So, we always use the analogy here of, we sell season tickets here, which is really baking the cake. And then all the walk up, or group sales or everything that goes around that, that's the frosting. So, you got to bake that cake. Well, their budget is that cake. And now if there are events that go on, we're the frosting. And it is absolutely the right way to budget. They're absolutely wanting to have events in the Panther Arena in 2021. But right now, with all the uncertainty, when you have to do your budget, you budget like there aren't going to be any, which is absolutely the right thing to do.
But a February 5th start date, they are fully prepared to go, make the ice, and be ready to go.
They will be ready as soon as we say go. Absolutely. Yep. And they have furloughed a lot of people as well at the Wisconsin Center District, which is really unfortunate. But they're ready to, call people back. And I've heard from a lot of people that work at the building who are like, we really want you, we can't wait for you guys to come back so we can get our people back. And we want to be part of that solution too.
Is there any chance, and maybe you just answered this, there was a question here from someone online, chances of playing at another venue, Wilson Park or Kern Center or anything like that?
Well, the same rules would fall into play, right? So if we're in the city of Milwaukee and you can't play, we can play with the same amount of people you can play with at the Kern Center or Wilson Park or the Fiserv Forum. We're playing here. This is our home. We are not playing someplace else. We'll be playing in the Panther Arena.
Let's move into some season ticket questions. A lot of people have questions about what happened at the end of the past season and how it works. So will vouchers from last season be able to be redeemed during the upcoming season?
Absolutely.
And then it says, if we don't play this year, will they be good for next season?
Yes.
Okay. So hang on to your vouchers. Hang on to your vouchers.
Hang on to your vouchers, you bet.
Season ticket holder items that were not received last year. Those would be.
Yeah, what I would recommend for if you think that there's something that you don't have, please reach out to your account executive who's responsible for that. They'll be happy to talk you through that. And if there's something that you're missing, we'll be happy to help you get it in your hands.
Season ticket holders who have spent money for this upcoming season, paid in full, whatever, what should they do, and what happens if there's not 38 home games?
Right. Well, first of all, I would say thank you for your investment in what we're doing. And that loyalty has been incredible, and it certainly is extraordinarily appreciated. And I can't say that enough. So if we, much like, we didn't play the full schedule last year, so people had still money left over from last season, they rolled that over into their tickets for the season that should be happening right now. So that money is there, it's sitting in their account. We would, once we get started and get playing, it'll start to be used. It basically, if we end up playing short, well, then there'll still be a balance in that account and can be applied for next season. If for some reason we don't play, we'll certainly be in contact with everybody, but you essentially will consider yourself paid in full for the upcoming season. You won't have to make any payments. And if there are other circumstances which you would want to talk to us about, absolutely reach out to your account executive. And there is something that we are very proud of here since this all began, and that has been our transparency and our communication with our customers. We have worked really, really hard to make sure that the message, all the messaging has been shared with people as soon as we have it. So essentially yesterday when we got off that conference call with the league, within minutes, we had our message out there. The only problem was Elliot Friedman already had it out there before us. The joke has always been that
He always does.
The joke is that Elliot really should announce himself on the roll call. We're going team by team because he seems to always know what's going on scant seconds after we're finished. But we've really worked hard to make sure that that our customers, our sponsors, our season ticket holders, people that we've done business with in the past are aware of exactly what's going on here. And if they have questions, we're happy to answer them anytime. We have we work in a hybrid work environment here. So every day there's half of our staff here and the next day the other half is here. So you can always manage to catch your account executive over 2 days. If you're not working here in the office, you're working at home. So if you leave them a voicemail or send them an email, they will respond to you right away. So any questions regarding payments or your balance or what's going to happen with your money, all those things, they are there for you and ready to answer.
Along those lines, and I'm assuming this falls into the same thing, a couple of questions about parking, about parking passes from last season and parking passes which are purchased for this upcoming season.
Good to go. We've negotiated with Isaac's Parking, and they are absolutely willing to accept the parking passes that were out there that weren't used, and any parking passes that have been purchased for the upcoming season will absolutely be good when we start play again.
Very good. Another question we had, and I think this might be the last one. Who is the best Wisconsin real estate agent on the Milwaukee Admirals?
Well, I had to go deep into the vault for this. No, we are really proud of Matt Donovan, who has taken his realtor's exam and his exam, and we're proud to say that he is the guy you want to buy your house from. So you can find Matt on all the social channels, and I'm sure that he would love to sell Admirals fans their next house.
Yes.
How fun would that be?
Yes, indeed. I'm trying to think, are we missing anything? Do you think we've hit? I believe I've gone through all the questions that the fans had. Are we missing a key point of a message that needs to be out there, John?
No, I don't think I think we covered a lot of this. The one thing I would just say, and I want to just reiterate, is our appreciation for the loyalty and the fact that people have really just have stuck with us throughout this entire 7 or 8 months of uncertainty. It's the hardest thing that, people ask me, it's like, well, you've been doing this for a long time. What do you compare this to? I said, nothing. Right. And my goal is when it's over is to never have to do this again. We want to get back to having full buildings. There's a picture outside of my office of a full Panther arena with a game going on. I can't wait to get back to that, that excitement, that energy. We had our garage sale here at the end of September, and season ticket holders were coming down. They were the first group in, and just the joy I could see in their eyes above their masks was, they got to see each other. There's a community that comes with Admirals hockey, and we want that community to get back together in person as soon as possible. So thank you to everybody for sticking with us, and we can't wait to see everybody again. And in order to make that happen, as I wrote on my own Facebook yesterday, I am encouraging people to follow all the safety protocols, wear your mask, wash your hands, do your social distancing. The only way we get through this is if we do it all together. And we'll be back playing hockey with you in our seats, watching us play sooner rather than later if we can do all those things.
Yeah, let's have a 100% effort at that, because we have not had that, and here we are. We're still waiting. So, what I agree with you, and I think a point just to follow up to finish this is how important it is to communicate, and I think the Admirals, and I'm biased, but the Admirals have done a very good job communicating. But to stress to fans or whoever, if you have a question, feel free to get in touch, because there are answers there that will come to you right away.
Yeah, for sure. And social media is a wonderful thing. Sometimes it can be counterproductive when people ask questions that might be better answered just by sending an email or picking up the phone.
Right.
To us, because if you want the straight answer, it comes from us.
Right. Good things. Jon, thank you so much for doing this. I know the fans appreciate it too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron.
Very good. Admirals President Jon Greenberg, we hope that answered your questions. Again, we stress that if you do have any other questions, please call the Admirals office at 414-227-0550, or get in touch with your account representative if you have one. If you don't, they'd be obviously happy to help you out with that as well. Thank you for watching.